The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another rider, another lovely episode. Today we have a lovely lady in the car, and she is the editor of a magazine, and she's going to tell us all about it, how she got into the job, what motivates her, and along those lines. So nice to have you here today, Sally.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So why editorial?
I mean, I've always been really interested in fashion. I kind of found my way into fashion via styling and personal shopping before I got into editing. But yeah, it wasn't easy. Like, I'm from a working class background, and kind of making that move over to London was tough. But yeah, I've always just been interested in the creative fields and beautiful things and making things look nice, and I suppose that's how I eventually ended up in editorial. I like to curate things, I suppose.
Okay. Is that what you studied at uni?
No, I actually did English, so I was kind of told to go down the academic route and do a really good, strong degree, but in a way, you know, I would have rather done something I was really passionate about, which was fashion, and get those kind of core skills. I kind of had to teach myself them, I suppose, as I went along.
Okay. But yes, I see you saying that. So I'm thinking now, if you had that English degree would carry you in any industry.
Well, this is it, and like, you know, it really lends itself well to editorial, because I don't work for a magazine. I actually work for like a personal shopping company, so I would do more like social media editorial. But if I ever worked in a magazine, you know, that English and that writing ability would really lend itself well to that. So it did carry me well. But, you know, I suppose when you're younger, you kind of just do what you're told to do. When you're 17, you're picking your degree, you don't really know what you want to do. But I suppose, you know, this year I only actually moved to editorial in March, so I'm finally doing what I've been wanting to do after all these years, which is really great.
Okay, that's good. What have you found out during your time in the industry that you wish you knew when you had started?
I think the big problem with the fashion industry is that a lot of it is coming from, you know, you work your way in through unpaid internships, and I knew that was a reality, but actually being there and coming from working class background and realizing how strong the nepotism is and how hard it is to break in, I wish someone, you know, could have told me from an earlier age to not let that bother me. Because it does, you get that kind of imposter syndrome, and you do feel like you don't belong there sometimes, and that can be quite difficult to deal with. But I think, you know, just believing that you deserve to be there no matter what your background is really, really important to remember. And it is possible, because I did it. I came to London with literally no money and no family support, and I mean, I have an amazing family, but financially, you know, it just wasn't feasible. I literally got the job and was told to move in a month and had no savings. So yeah, I think I would just tell anyone who's interested in that creative field that it is possible. You just have to work hard, but don't let yourself be kind of bogged down by that overarching feeling that everyone is rich, everyone knows someone, everyone has family here and there. It's like that in every industry, but we have a place too.
Tell us about that journey from Belfast to here. What was that like? How did you feel?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, like, I love big cities, and I've always loved London. I have family that live here, but, you know, I came here completely on my own. I left my boyfriend behind. We've been together for like 10 years at this point, so it was a big
You just broke up with him?
No, we didn't break up. We're still together, and he now lives here. Okay. So it was tough, but I really needed the challenge. When I feel set in stuck in my ways, I can get really down, and I just felt like I was kind of stuck and I needed a big change, so I just threw myself into it. But, you know, 4 years later, my boyfriend's here, all my best friends are here. I feel like my life is just kind of built around that one move.
So when you say your best friends, is it friends from Belfast?
Friends from home, yeah.
So you set the way, you trailblazed, you hacked through the wilderness. And you took all the thing and they all said, oh, we need you.
No,
We need
no,
you
it
to
wasn't
say."
like that. It was more just that, everyone was in different places. One of my best friends was living in Madrid and my other friend was completing a degree, and we were all different places in our lives, but I think I moved and they came to visit me, and we all just had such a good time together that we were like, let's just all be together as much as we physically can, because throughout uni and growing up we were always in different places and we were always having these big weekends together. But I think we just thought we just actually want to be together. And my best friend has actually just moved in the last couple of months. My other best friends, one of them moved like a month after, and the other one came a couple of months after. So it was just like one after the other. We were all just sick of experiencing those amazing London weekends and then having to go back to wherever we were based, but yeah, it's really great to have everyone here now. It just feels like our own little community.
What was your biggest fear when you were coming to London?
I suppose money was definitely a big factor, and I was constantly bogged down by the thought that how am I going to survive, but I suppose you just do it. But I think my biggest fear was just like not fitting in, because I think when you're Irish, we have a very like specific kind of way about us, the way we talk, the way our sense of humor, and it doesn't always go down the best with certain people. So yeah, I think I had that kind of fear of fitting in and molding myself to fit that narrative, but then I realized that I'm never going to be that person, and if people want to be my friend, it's because of who I am. So yeah.
London's full of Irish, so.
Yeah, full of Irish.
Well,
We follow each other around.
Now, do you, a bit delicate question here, but I'm curious, coming from where you come from,
Yeah.
do you guys get on with the other Irish who are Southern Irish?
Oh,
When you're
yeah,
here?
yeah.
There's
So-
no issues.
Oh, we definitely do, but I call myself Irish. I'm from the north, but obviously there's the whole, unionist nationalist debate. But it's actually funny because when you're from the south of Ireland, you're just Irish. There's nothing to do with religion. It's never mentioned about your religion because it doesn't need to be. You just identify as Irish. But in the north, it's so contentious and it always goes back to religion. But I just think that Ireland is the most beautiful country in the world and our culture is so rich, and why wouldn't you want to call yourself Irish? Like, I can't understand it, and it makes me sad because everyone loves the Irish. So when there are people in the north who want to be part of Britain and the Union, I'm like, why do you want to align yourself with like a colonizer? I just don't get it. I mean, I'm sure there's multiple reasons why people are proud to be British, the same way they're proud to be Irish, but in the south sometimes they almost think of us as not as Irish as them, which is actually sad because we've had to fight a lot harder for our identity. But I could rant about this topic for an eternity and I won't.
Okay, I hear. So we're back to the editorial.
Yeah.
If you could change anything or do it, if you had to do it all again, what would you change if you would change anything?
I think it would just be a confidence thing. I would just tell myself, like, you can do this. It took me 4 years to jump into editorial. I was a personal shopper, that's how I got my way into the fashion world, and I absolutely love doing that, but I'm not very money driven, and you need to be very, very sales focused and consistent with that, and that's just not how I operate. I'm so much more creative. So I think I would tell people to like trust your instinct and don't be afraid to jump into things that you maybe don't think you have the skill set for, because a lot of the time I would look at job descriptions and think, oh, I can do that, I can do those things, but I've never done that before, I've never got that title. But your skills are transferable and you can learn as long as you have passion and drive and belief in yourself. I think that makes a world of difference. When I went into this role, I think something changed in me this year. Maybe it's post-COVID, but I just really had this belief in myself that like I deserve this, and I think that it helped me get the job.
Well, you've been a great guest. We're coming to the end. My last question is, just describe what you do as editorial now, so people can be...
So, editorial, I mean, it's a very, very broad term, but I look after our social media. I mainly focus on our Instagram stories, so I would curate like 10 different stories a day, and because we're a personal shopping company, everything we do relates back to sales. So I would work with our brands team, make sure that we're featuring key brands. I work with our stylist to make sure that their shooting has a narrative and that we're kind of featuring those key products. and I would work with, you know, the wider editorial team to make sure that we have the right copy and that we design the stories to look in a really cool way. So I'm essentially like the person that sits in between every department, kind of, you know, getting copy from the copy editors and asking designers to do this. But, you know, there's a huge web of creative people that kind of make those stories. So I suppose I'm just the person that kind of pulls the strings and edits that down and decides what goes live.
So the buck stops with you.
Yeah.
If something goes out there.
If something goes wrong, it's my fault.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sally, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. And my last sneaky question is, what does the future hold for you?
I don't know. You know, I do see myself saying in editorial, I'd love to be an editor-in-chief. I wrote in my school yearbook when I left that I wanted to be the editor-in-chief of Vogue. So hopefully I'm on that journey. I hope that working class people can have more of a voice and more representation in fashion in the future. And I think that things are definitely changing for the better. You know, we have Edward Enninful as the first black male working class man who's editor of Vogue. You know, that's a huge step and an amazing step in the right direction. And yeah, I hope that I can follow suit. Maybe not Vogue, but something with an intention and meaning and making my mark on the world.
It's interesting what I've just realised what you're speaking about. You're doing your job is surrounded around social media now because the magazines themselves are dying from what people have been talking to me. So it makes sense for drastic change where you said that guy is the head editor of Vogue because it's usually working class people, regardless of the cultural background, that influence fashion.
Absolutely. It's always been that way.
If you're going to stay on board and your magazine's dying, you need to get in with the young.
You need to be relevant.
Yeah.
People think that because Vogue has this kind of, not even Vogue, all kind of high fashion, the clothes are expensive, that it's a trickle down. You know, we tell you what to wear and the masses wear. It is not. The working class subcultures, whether you're black, whether you're white, you know, it doesn't matter. We created those cultures, and the fashion elite took them from us and put a price tag on them and sold them back. So essentially, I think it's really important that, you know, young people, like, subcultures are dying as it is because of the internet, but I think we need to keep them alive and keep your identity going because you're inspiring someone somewhere. They'll probably never credit you for it, but, you know, that's just how it is. And yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that.
No worries.
And we wish you well.
Thanks so much.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.